Hello and welcome to this pattern recognition video for intermediate level patterns. If you're not familiar with pattern recognition, basically you want to go ahead and solve a set of puzzles like the 10 that we'll have here today. And the idea is to go back through them multiple times. That way you don't just forget the tactics and patterns that you see. So at any time you can pause the video if you want to think longer before I give away any answers. So here, well, how do you begin? You might want to look at the move that was just made by the opponent. Looks like we have a rook move here. Now, what is the purpose behind your opponent's move? What has changed in the position? Well, it looks like we were attacking that rook, so the rook presses forward, and now there's a threat of just taking our bishop. So we may have to deal with that. Something else you want to do is look at the material. So if we have 4 pawns, our opponent has, or actually we have 5 pawns. We have this advanced pawn here as well. All right, so we have 5 pawns. Our opponent has 5. We both have 2 rooks, a minor piece, and a queen. So with material even, we can make trades. Especially if you're way behind in material, then you may not want to trade pieces. You might have to go for the win. But because material's even here, we can just go for the win. And how do we do that? Well, generally you want to look at checks, captures, and threats in that order. Checks first, as they're the most forcing, but I don't really see any way to get to this king immediately. So do we have any captures? Well, you definitely want to look at any unprotected pieces when you're thinking about captures and threats. And we do have this rook right here all alone. And it looks like we can move our bishop, which is under attack. So we take care of the problem of the bishop under fire by counterattacking, forking both of the rooks. Now the opponent could go here. Once we move our bishop, they could go here and deliver a check, but it looks like we can just, step here. Maybe we could even block with our rook, but then it would be pinned to the king. So anyway, we'll just go there. Now, this move was not bad. If they're going to lose a rook, then you might as well take as much material with you as you can. So they were at least able to grab a pawn. But now our queen's under attack, so we probably have to handle that. And now we're just ahead in material. All right, that was rated 1440. These puzzles for intermediate level play, they come from games where somebody rated 1200 to 1800, they played these actual moves. So some of them could be harder or less difficult, depending on what happened in that specific game. Okay, did this bishop just capture something here? So we're on to puzzle number 2. An obvious move, while our knight is under attack, maybe an obvious move is to go here and just recapture the bishop. But before we do that, let's look at the position. We have material for 6 pawns. Our opponent has 5, so we're up by 1 pawn. And we have 4 minor pieces. They have 3, but they have 2 rooks, and we don't have any rooks. So maybe we have to go for some type of win here. And if we look at checks first, hopefully you found the answer. If we go here, if we went here with the knight, the king could just come forward and attack us. But if we go here delivering check, the king still has to come forward. Remember, when a king is in check, the 3 options are to capture, block, or run from the checking piece. And of course, if none of those can be done, it's a mate. But a knight, you can never block those because they can just jump over everything. So check, the king would have to go on to the dark squared diagonal, and then that gives us time to deliver a check with the bishop. Well, a mate, I should say. So we just go there, they block, and then we deliver the mate. All right, on to puzzle number 3. Okay, what is the purpose of this move? Looks like the knight was delivering a check to the king. The king steps forward. But now we can continue to check the king. And when you're focusing on your attack against the opponent, make sure that they don't have any very powerful checks, captures, or threats that are stronger than your threats. And that's why if you deliver a check, those are so forcing, they have to deal with that you definitely have to keep an eye on the checks. So it looks like we could go here. If we deliver a check, the king has only one move. He can't capture or block the rook here. So the king would have to move forward. And it looks like our knight is doing a great job of covering that. So the king will not be able to run. So it looks like we can go check. The king will run, and then we'll use our other rook. So we go here and he'll block, but we take that and we have a mate. So on average, it takes 3 pieces to deliver a mate against the king. And of course, that depends on how many defenders are around the king. All right, on to puzzle number 4. We have a rook moving to the center, usually a good idea. And it's on the half-open file, aimed at the queen and targeting a backwards pawn as well. So what do we do? All right. Well, we can look at the material first. We have 6 pawns. Our opponent has 5. We both have 2 rooks, a queen, and a minor piece. So we're ahead by 1 pawn. So if we trade down material, that's not a bad thing. Now, how do we do it here? We want to look at checks, captures, and threats. If we look at checks first, we have this check, but the king could just capture. So that check doesn't look so good. All right. Well, it looks like the checks don't work immediately, so we have to look at captures. Do they have anything that is unprotected? A pawn, but we don't want to go after that because we have to deal with our queen that's under attack. So maybe we can ignore that attack. And that's a good strategy sometimes, is to, or maybe all the time, try and find a better counterattack. So it looks like we could maybe go here. If they take, well, they probably wouldn't do that. If we take that, they'll probably go after our queen, which is more valuable. But then we could capture this rook, delivering check. The king would have to move, and then we would take time to take that. So we'd go ahead in material. So maybe that's the best way to go. Now, our pawns are kind of wrecked here a little bit, doubled isolated pawns, so that's not so good. But we have 2 rooks versus the queen, and we have the knight. The only issue is, they could deliver a check once we move our king. Oh, they can't even go there, excuse me, because of the rook guarding that. So, yeah, we should be in a good position here to go for a win into the end game. All right, on to puzzle number 5. What do we have here? What is the purpose behind this move? Well, we have a discovered attack on the queen. Also, the knight picked up a pawn, I believe. So material wise, we have 6 pawns. Our opponent has 6 as well. We both have 3 minor pieces, 2 rooks and a queen. But the main concern is that our queen is under attack. Now, if we look at checks first, of course we don't want to go here or here. We'll just be captured. Or here. But our queen could go here. So maybe we go there delivering a check. And once the opponent deals with that, we can go ahead and material by capturing here. All right, so check, we capture, recapture, and now we just have the extra knight here. All right, on to puzzle number 6. Okay. What is the purpose behind this move? What has changed in the position? Well, does that move make any sense? They've just moved the bishop, and there's nothing protecting it there. I mean, it looks like we can just take... Oh, okay, they do have a discovered attack now on our own knight. So if we take their bishop... So our knight is under attack, and our queen is under attack. We can just move the knight, and that takes care of both problems. Oh, they don't like that. Okay. Why does that not work? All right, it looks like we have something even better. So I hope you were able to find it, even though I just missed that. But now it looks like our queen is under attack. And often, if you can ignore what your opponent is doing and conduct a stronger attack, we could grab this rook and attack their queen at the same time. So that's probably what they're looking for. Okay, now we capture here with check. And, so we just went ahead and material there. Oh, and we have this move as well. So now, yeah, that makes sense. All right, hopefully you found that one. On to puzzle number 7. Let's keep this moving along. We just had a capture of a knight there, I think. So that's not so good because now... if this pawn captures, or if we capture their pawn, the rook will be able to recapture. Or if we ignore it, they could go here with a discovered attack, which will lead to a mate. So we need to figure out how to counterattack, do something here. Okay. We do have... we have a check. So we definitely want to look at the checks. I mean, if we follow our system, we could count up the material. We have 5 pawns. Our opponent has 6, so they have 1 more than us. And they have a queen for our rook and bishop. So, yes, we need to get an attack going. So we deliver a check. There's no way to capture or block the rook there. So he'll have to move forward. And now, because we have this bishop helping, we can swing over, delivering another check, and the king can only move here, and it looks like we'll be able to skewer the king and queen and grab that queen. So check, check, then we go here, grabbing the queen. All right. Well, I hope you found that answer and you're doing well in these puzzles. Remember, at any time you can leave comments, especially if you have any requests, if there's some type of tactic you want to see in future videos. All right, on to the next puzzle, puzzle number 8. What happened here? Did they just capture our queen and they're delivering a check? So we have to deal with that. Probably the best move is to recapture with the rook, because that rook will be on the open file aimed right up the middle here. And we're in check. We can't block that or run. We have to capture. And I don't see any reason why we would want to drop the knight back. So we'll just go there. Okay, they captured our bishop. What do we have now? Okay, it looks like if we continue to attack, we can go here with a check. The options are to block, but because of our rook, we would be able to take that. They can't capture the bishop here. If they run, we can deliver a check and then follow it up with a capture of the knight, I believe. So let's take a look at this. Check. If they block with the bishop, we just grab the bishop. If they run here, we deliver the check. They can block with the knight, and then we can take that knight. All right, so check. Oh, they block with the bishop anyway. We can just deliver a check there. All right, on to puzzle number 9. Okay, they've captured our queen. The obvious move would be to just recapture, but it can be wise to look around for a minute and see if there's a better move. You know, that old saying about if you see a good move, sit on your hands and look for a better one. Okay, so if we go there, if the king comes forward, we can bring the other rook in. Then the king would have to go here, and we can swing over and deliver a mate, it looks like. So check, check, and mate with the help of that pawn. So, 3 pieces, well, 2 pieces and a pawn help to deliver that checkmating attack. All right, on to puzzle number 10. So the final puzzle, here we go. What do we have here? Bishop has just centralized, usually a good idea, controlling these 2 diagonals. What is the purpose of that move? Well, just to improve the position of the bishop, to get ready to castle as well. So what do we have? If we look at the material, see if we're even, ahead, or behind. That'll help us decide what we need to do next. It looks like we have the same amount of material on both sides. So with material even, if we look at checks first, okay, and we want to look at checks, captures, and threats. Now, when you're looking at checks, you want to see if there's a follow-up. You don't want to just check because you can, and hopefully you'll find that there's a capture possible. And anytime you see an unprotected piece like this bishop just sitting there, look for a way to go after that. They also have an unprotected pawn, rook, pawn here, rook. But what can we get to? We can go after this by delivering a check, and we'll be forking the king and the bishop. So we can just go ahead and material check, and we grab that material. All right, I hope you did well on these today. So as always, feel free to leave comments. Check out my future videos. I put out a video, at least one video every day. They could be on pattern recognition and puzzle solving like this. I try to do 2 of those videos, and then on the 3rd day, I switch it up with something else, a learning video or a game review or something. So leave comments, like and subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Thank you for watching, and have a super chess day.